Results. Let's talk about them because you want them and everybody around you is waiting for you to get them, especially all my true driven leaders out there who have a lot of people counting on them to hit the high marks. But if you're not getting the results right now, it's easy to start questioning your plan and maybe even second guessing and doubting yourself. And that, my friends, is a very ineffective place to be. There is one thing you do want to focus on even more than the result, and we're going to be talking about that in this video today. What's up, my friends? JT DeBolt here today with you for the weekly momentum shift, your weekly kick in the ass to help elevate your performance in business and in life. And I say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whatever time it is for you, no matter where you might be tuning in from on the big blue marble. Thanks for joining me here each and every single week. So, results, yes, they're important. And of course, we all want to get better results, faster results. We want to have the ability to almost have consistent and predictable results. And by the way, that is absolutely possible. The question, though, is what to do when the results aren't showing up, right? And more importantly, if they are showing up, but they're not meeting your expectation, meaning you thought it was going to be bigger, you thought it was going to be a bigger payout, or you thought it was going to be something much more glorious than it actually is, how do we work with that? I talk about this with all my true drivens. You guys know this already, so let me just share a little bit of insight. Results, my friends, they are super important. I'm not saying don't put your focus on them, okay? What I'm saying is we have to elevate our game and we have to elevate the way we think about results. And instead of being obsessed with the result, be super obsessed with what brings the result. There's this concept of lead and lag measures. A lag measure is a result, meaning, hey, if I do a bunch of stuff, bang, the result happens. But the stuff that I had to do to get it, that's the lead measure, right? That has to happen first. It leads, makes sense, right? And then the lag measure shows up based on a lot of things. And sad to say, sometimes the things that we do aren't everything that goes into the end result. So you might do the best effort, you might have the best intentions, you might be showing up, you might have an awesome action plan, and despite all of that, you still miss the mark. What does that tell you? Well, it tells you, number one, you got to take extreme ownership, and we get that, but not everything is inside your circle of control. You might be in sales, for instance. You might have the best product, the best delivery of that product. You might have an amazing sales pitch. You might have the ability to convey that message, and you might even be talking to an ideal customer. They may even say yes, and then at the last minute, they decide they're not going to do business with you. They might take their business elsewhere. They might just say no to the sale altogether. There's only so much that's inside your control. You can't control that person. You can't force them to do anything. So we have to be able to look at that, and instead of becoming a victim to the situation, we want to elevate our game and say, what is it that we want to be focused on instead? So you want to be super focused on the result, but not obsessed. Instead, I'd rather you obsessed over one thing differently. Do you remember back in high school physics class how we learned a little bit about something called momentum? That's right, momentum. Now, there's lots of different varieties of momentum. So for purposes of today's conversation and as it applies to high performance, we're talking about linear momentum. Linear momentum is basically the equation for linear momentum is mass times velocity. So we only have to focus on two things, mass and velocity, right? Now, if I said to you, what's the thing that you think you might want to obsess over? I'm sure a lot of you are going to say velocity, right? Yeah, you want it faster. You want it to happen now. I get it. And I love it and I applaud it. But again, let's step back and think a little bit more critically about this and think more effectively. You might be able to find, if you look at your action plan and your daily performance, your daily method of operation, you might be able to find areas where you could do things more effectively, but also more efficiently, which might increase the velocity that your results are coming to. It's totally possible. Or you might look at it and say, okay, what is it that I'm physically doing? What are my actions that I can do better? And that's the part that I want you to really focus on. It's more about the mass than the velocity, right? Focusing on the mass of your efforts. And I'm not talking about necessarily doing more, although, let's be honest, let's say that you're focused on losing weight and you're looking at your consistency. You're like, well, I'm going to the gym once a week, every week, haven't missed. Okay, great. Good job. But maybe we need to increase the mass there. We need to do more. Maybe go to the gym 5 days a week as opposed to one. for instance. If you're trying to increase your revenue by $1 million and you're looking at how many sales calls, maybe you can increase how many sales you make or how many customer touches you make, by 10x. The point is this: there might be a place inside your plan, inside your DMO, that can use more mass. But even more than velocity, even more than just more stuff, my challenge to you is for you to go in and look at where you can improve the quality of the actions you're taking. So when we talk about mass, we're not just talking about more, we're talking about the weight, we're talking about the size, we're talking about the scope of what you're doing. The question is, can you do better quality work that's going to bring you the result even faster? And more importantly, when you obsess over quality, you stop worrying about that lag measure. You stop worrying about, is it coming, because you're too focused on doing your best work right now. So this week and every single day moving forward, stop obsessing over the results. It's okay to have it forefront in your mind. It's okay to want it. I'm not saying give up on results. What I'm saying is instead of being obsessed with the result, be obsessed with the mass of the momentum that you're building. Be obsessed with the mass of the actions you're taking. Take more, take better actions. Most importantly, take better quality actions. And you're going to start seeing better results happen. You got it, faster. All right, my friends, if you got some value from this, share it far and wide with your friends that you think would benefit from it. Stay tuned, because I'll be bringing another conversation to you next week, as well as more episodes of the True Driven Podcast. And until then, remember, no matter what course you fly in life, fly high, fly fast, and fly far, stay driven.